Hi folks, John Gets here, playing Sailaway the Sailing Simulator. So, uh, where am I? I'm on the coast of Maine and heading in a sort of southerly direction. There seems to be, I don't know if that's somebody who's docked here or someone who happens to be sailing in the same area, but there they are. Maybe I shouldn't do that because I didn't really ask for permission to be part of the video, but there you go. Um, so what am I doing now? I don't know. I just jumped in here and I'll have to see what's going on. Um, the wind has really dropped off. It's like 6 knots now out of the north and it's heading south. And so I'm guessing I'll have to raise the gennaker, try to pick up a little bit of more of that wind power. And so we'll have to make some adjustments first, and then hopefully we'll get into a couple more tutorials. So for now, first of all, remind you all that I created this channel for mainly senior gamers to give them a safe place to hang out, and because I've done a lot of surfing around on YouTube, listening to content creators, and just playing games in general. And I found that seniors are generally not treated very well. And so, yeah, that's why we're here. So if you could leave a thumbs up and for the like button or a subscribe button, but most importantly, leave a comment. Let me know what your gaming experience has been like. So as far as this game goes, let's take a look at what we have on the trim. We're talking about the mainsail here. The top of the mainsail is too tight to try to mess with the traveler, and try to, too tight, too flat, that makes sense, right? Try to ease the outhaul. So let's just see what we have here, because when you go offline and this autopilot kind of takes over, it makes some adjustments. Sometimes you'd have no idea what to expect. Um, so by pressing E, uh, so it says reef 0 here, but that looks like it's been reefed to some extent. Looks like reef 1. So waiting for it to say remove the reef, but I'm going to remove the reef anyway, otherwise I won't be able to use the outhaul. So there, now the reef is gone and I can use the outhaul. So the outhaul is here. Try to ease the outhaul because it's too flat. But I get the feeling I don't have enough space to ease anything there. And the top of the mainsail is too tight. Try to ease the vang or pull the traveler. Where is the traveler's here? By pulling it, seems to me going the other way. Right, there's the vang. Let's ease that a little bit first. See whether this helps a bit. Vang's quite heavy. Yeah, that did a lot. Now, trying to ease the outhaul. I don't think I can ease it much more. The outhaul is completely drawn. Oh, look at that. Lower the gennaker, raise the gennaker. All right, so that's pretty much the best we're going to do with that. There's no sense adjusting this, the gennaker, because we're going to raise the gennaker. So, as we stumbled across last time, this is the halyard for this sail, this being the sheet. So we are going to find the Genoa halyard and lower that. So Cunningham bang. There's the general halyard. So we want to lower that thing as much as right off the charts here. Our speed is dropping even more. Now, go away. Now we want to find the halyard for the gennaker. Oops. Gennaker halyard. So let's raise that. If you're ever out on the water and boats are sailing with their gennakers, you get some really nice pictures. But it's something else entirely. So let's pull that up. Okay, so this is because we're downwind. We're going to try to use the gennaker in order to gather as much wind as possible. So let's see what we have to do to adjust this. Nothing at all. Nothing at all. So now we're picking up even more speed than we had when we logged on, but not much because our wind speed is only 5.6 knots. If I turn, where are we on the map here? If I turned, trying to see whether we passed, okay, as soon as we pass this little waypoint here, I could mark it as already passed and then turn, but we're pretty close. How close are we? It's almost 4 minutes out. So I'll tell you what, just as a demonstration of what we can do, we are going to click on this thing, unlock this, and now you see this little yellow button. If I click on that, it says I've already passed that waypoint. Mark this waypoint as passed. It doesn't look like it. There it is. Now it's marked as passed. Now I'm going to lock this up again, close that. And now we're going to turn even further south, which should increase our speed because the gennaker should catch more of this southerly wind. So, let's turn a little more south. So now we're heading straight, or pretty straight at this waypoint. And we are not picking up any speed whatsoever. So let's see what trimming would do. That doesn't help much. Still that. So, generally speaking, this didn't really have, we don't have much wind to play with, but so be it. It's fairly late in the evening. Kind of had a bummer of an experience a little earlier. I supposed to go to a owners meeting for these condos. It was scheduled at 6:30. I got there and it was 7 o'clock and they still hadn't all arrived, so I said, screw this. And I left. So, I hate people who are late. Pisses me off, ruins my day. Anyway, there we are. So, I really would like to do something about this because this, I think, should be more curved. The mainsail is too flat. It's too flat, but it's catching lots of wind. Take a look at it from that angle. Can't quite pick up the theory here because it seems to me the sail is catching wind that should be going through to the gennaker. So let's try, well, the traveler's already pretty far over. Let's try seeing what happens if I pull the traveler over even further. Okay, I'm going to pull the traveler. So that should have pulled that around somewhat. Now the main sheet is too tight. So let's look for the sheet for the main sail. main sheet too. It's already too tight, but it's only a, so we want to loosen it. There we have it there. Not quite sure what that did for us. Still kind of floating along. 5.2 true wind speed. Our speed is on 2.7. But there we have it. Not heel over, and I've already adjusted the heel so that we're just running flat. So let's take a look at Z here. And you see, we got nothing to really worry about. And but we can look at the sails there, that the mainsail is just taking a lot of that gennaker. Not quite sure that the theory behind that. They want us to raise the gennaker. The main sheet's too loose now, so we should tighten it. So let's look for the main sheet. There's the gennaker sheet. Main reef, main oval, Cunningham, Fang, Traveler. Main sheet is too loose, so we want to tighten it up a bit. Tightening it also, because we're in this long view, is going to pull us further away, but there we go. So, keep looking at this because I'm just not happy with it. All right, anyway, let's pull back in. We've only been doing this for 10 minutes, so let's see if we can, what's the map say? We're a good distance. We'll probably not meet that for over an hour because we're going so slow. So what I'm going to do as soon as we finish this tutorial, I'm going to stretch that to 5+. So I'm just trying to see what our maximum will be before it loses track of the course and then starts going offline. So, okay, let's go for a tutorial. We'll hit this. We'll hit activities. We'll go to tutorials. And we'll see what we've done. We've done telltales. We've done curve depth. Curve position, seems to me we haven't done that. Or have we? I know we've done curve depth. Let's start with this one and see if it looks very recognizable, in which case we'll pop out and go off to the top of the sail, which is what we were having trouble with. Okay, here we go. Now, wing shape. This looks really familiar. We all know the shape of an airplane wing. It's round front. Yeah, sounds like, yeah, I'm pretty sure we've done this. Don't want to drag either unnecessarily. Yeah, okay, how can I get out of this? Hitting escape again. Quit the current tutorial. And we'll go into the next one. Curve depth, curve position. Let's try top of the sail. Theory behind pulling the top of the sail close or making it open. Gosh, that sounds familiar as well. The boom angle. No, that's not familiar. When we sail, we tend to look at the angle of the boom to judge the sail angle to the wind, but that works only for the bottom part. We have seen this before. Whereas that large piece of cloth high in the mast is just as important. First, the force of the wind in the top half of the sail is has much more effect on heel than the wind blowing at the bottom. Okay, we've done this, right? Second, the wind near the Earth's surface is disturbed. Yeah, we've done this. Wow, getting further along than I thought. We're quitting that tutorial, and now we are eventually going to try some of these challenges here. Telltale's depth of sail, curve position, top of sail, controlling the depth of the sail. Now this, surely we haven't done that. We got 3 more to go. Okay, flattening the sail. The sail is attached to the mast or the forestay on one side. To the mast and the forestay. I don't know why it said or, because it's attached to the mast, it's attached to the forestay, sure. If you pull the other end tight, it becomes flat. What other end? It's attached to, this is the, oh, the forestay. The forestay is up here. Right there, that's the forestay. And it's attached to the mast, which a sail is attached to the mast, or that's why they said or, because they could be talking about the main sail, which that would be attached. I don't know what I'm talking about. I have to remind everybody that I have no idea what I'm talking about. I'm just playing with this, trying to pick up little bits and pieces as we go. If you pull the other end tight, it becomes flat. The other end. So if we're talking about mainsail, I'm not sure what that means. The outhaul, which we have trouble with. For the mainsail, this means pulling the line at the bottom of the boom, the outhaul, backwards. This means, what means? When you pull on that to make it tight, means pulling it backwards. That means you're pulling it backwards, as in towards the stern of the boat, which will tighten that, which would make that flatter, I'm guessing. To prevent the back of the sail from bending outwards due to the pressure of the wind and thus flattening the sail, you will need to put some downward tension on the boom by pulling the vang or easing the traveler. We've done that a few times. To prevent the back of the sail, do they mean the back as in towards the stern? The back of the sail along the mast, to prevent the back of the sail from bending outwards due to the pressure of the wind, and thus flattening the sail. I don't know, back of the sail to prevent the back of the sail from bending outward. Do they mean putting a curve here? So you want it tighter, I assume. So you pull the vang, which we've done several times here, which makes it tighter. So it's not going to be a curve along here, I'm guessing, maybe. Sail cut. Sail makers give their sail a curved front. That's this end. If you force that in a straight mast, sail becomes horizontally curved. One of those times I wish I could move a little smaller direction. It's going to take me forward. That's the sail. Actually, if they make it curved, it sure doesn't look curved now. This is losing me entirely. Mast bend. Most boats have a mast that can bend a little, and if you pull the backstay, the mast slightly bends. It fits the curve of the front of the sail, and the sail becomes more flat. Okay, so bending the mast, which aligns it with a curve that I can't see in the sail. So let's keep going. Foresail sheet. The foresail is a little harder. Pulling the sheet tight to make the sail more flat will also adjust the angle of the sail. So you want to adjust that. It would adjust this angle or curve. Oh, this is the foresail, sorry. Okay, let's move ahead then. And you want to pull the sheet of the foresail. Pulling the sheet tight to make the sail more flat will also adjust the angle of the sail. Right, because the sail tends to be kind of outward, picking up, like this is a gennaker, so it's not a good example, but if it's a genoa or a jib or something that's there, pull the sheet tighter, it would pull it in and cause the angle to be smaller to the wind. Sheet angle. It all depends on the angle in which the sail is pulled. A force that points backwards will flatten the sail, whereas pulling inwards will affect the angle of the sail. Okay, I wonder if that's got to do with the barber haulers. So if we pull it backwards, it's going to flatten the sail. Makes sense. If you pull it inward, it's going to affect the angle, so that's going to swing around. The lead car. This is why race boats have barber haulers, right? On the sheet. On most sailaway boats, you can adjust the position of the lead car. Placing it further back will flatten the sail. Placing it further forward will make it more round. Our rail is not this way, it's horizontal that way, or vertical, if you can say that. For example, here it is here. As far as I can tell, okay, with the up and down, it would, no, that still would, well, it would sort of pull it this way. Because if you pull the barber hauler, gennaker sheet, halyard, reef main, can't affect that, not with the gennaker, so you can't use the barber haulers with the gennaker. Okay. Forestay. The front of the foresail is attached, the front of the foresail is attached to the steel wire. So in other words, the foresail is this here, or the front of the foresail is this here. If this is pulled very tight, the sail becomes a bit more flat. If this is given some slack, the sail becomes more curved. Okay, well that makes sense. Halyard and backstay. and backstay. Now we're back here again. This is controlled by the halyard tension. What is? This is controlled by the halyard tension and or the tension on the backstay. Because when you pull the mast backwards, you automatically also pull the front of your foresail tighter. Well, that, yeah, we know that. So you pull that back, since it's going to make that tighter. So by tightening the back stay, you're pulling the mast back. What that has to do with the halyard this is controlled by the halyard tension. Lost me there, folks. I'm pulling that back. This is, oh, the halyard, sorry. I was thinking of the mainsail halyard, which is it. And again, this is the gennaker, not a Genoa, but that's still the halyard. And so tighter is going to make it flatter. Pulling the backstay is also going to make it flatter because that pulls the top of the mast back. And in summary, to be honest with you, I didn't understand 50% of that. The foresail depth is controlled by position of the lead card. Backwards is flat. Which doesn't work for us as far as I can tell. Tension on the halyard, tight is flat. Tension on the backstay, tight is flat. We kind of knew that. Summary 2, the mainsail depth is controlled by the outhaul, which is the end of the mast, or the boom. Tight is flat, makes sense. Tension on the backstay. Tight is flat? In the mainsail. Let's think about it, the mainsail being turned over further, dragged over further this way if the wind was different. Then if I tighten the backstay, that's going to pull the top of the mast back, which seems to me it's going to loosen the sail. It's not going to be flat, but it's going to be more curved, I would think. Lost me there. Do you want? Sure, let's continue because we've got nothing going on. Back the main sail thing. Okay, stretch folds. 1. When you take a piece of cloth between two hands and pull hard, it will stretch in one direction. You see these long folds appear. I'm talking about these things. I guess what they're talking about is if you gripped right here in the center, but not if you had like a pole or something between the two, you would be evening this out. But if you grabbed it between your two hands, pulled out, this would be looser, this would be tighter, so you would get these little bulges there. But this is not what one would expect. No. Where does the extra material come from to make those folds? The weird thing is that the fabric next to the pulled area moves towards the pull. Pulling on a sail. Let's translate this to sail. When you pull hard at the front of the vertical direction, When you pull hard at the front of a vertical direction, the fabric tends to move toward that pull in a horizontal direction. Kind of makes sense because you're stretching that out. The cloth itself tries to compensate by pulling in, not sure. Moving the curve forward. This creates more room at the front and less further back. In other words, the curve of the sail moves forward. Kind of get that. Tightening that. The curve itself is going to try to pull forward. In the mainsail, to trigger this effect on the mainsail, you pull the Cunningham and the deepest part of the curve in the sail will move forward, right? The Cunningham being this part, tightens that, things go forward. Foresail. On the foresail, you pull the halyard and or the backstay. Okay, pulling the halyard makes this tight, pulling the backstay makes it tighter. This will move the curve forward because you put tension here, the sail pushes forward. This will move the curve more forward, but remember that this will also make the sail flatter because you're adding more tension to it. Wow, that's the end of that. Okay, got the feeling they didn't put a lot of thought into that one. Okay, we've got one more to go. Let's take it. Pull the boom down. If you want to close the top of the mainsail, you basically need to pull the boom down. If you want to close the top of the mainsail, once again, the word close, I'm not quite sure what that is talking about. You basically need to pull the boom down. The vang, which is how you pull the boom down. This can be done in different ways. The first is by pulling the vang. Ta-da! The vang pulls the boom down, which is exactly what we need. Okay. Vang 2. But there is a catch. Letting the vang do all the work will put a tremendous force on the boom and on the mast. Depending on the boat and the material, this may not always be the best idea in a strong wind. Kind of makes sense. Sheet angle. The other way to change the angle in which the sheet pulls. The other way is to change the angle in which the sheet pulls. When this is more downward, that's the sheet on the mainsail. The top of the sail is closed. There we go, that again. By tightening it, close it. I keep thinking of this sail up here. It's got this little flat area. So you tighten the sheet. By tightening that, you take some of the curve away, and I guess that's what they mean by closed. When this is more downward, the top of the sail is closed. Pulling more sideways will ease the downward pull and open the sail. I guess by closed and open, the way I'm interpreting it is more or less curved. Again, I have no idea what I'm talking about. The angle of the main sheet is controlled by the traveler, pulling it to the center of the boat or windward will open the top. Okay, in this case, it would make it looser because it's stretched this way. If I loosen it, it would open the top because it takes some of the tension off here. Letting it out to leeward, that would be that direction, will cause the sheet to be pulled more downward and thus close the top of the sail. The angle of the main sheet is controlled by the traveler, pulling it to the center of the boat or windward. Well, that's okay. Assuming that the traveler was over there, then you pull it towards the center, then you tighten it, and therefore taking the curve out, and therefore I think making it more closed. Whereas if you let it go back again, it loosens it up. I have no idea. Foresail sheet. Opening or closing the top of the foresail is done by changing the angle of the sheet. Changing the angle of the sheet. So let's go back up here. Okay, there's our foresail. In this case, again, is a gennaker, not the Genoa. So opening or closing the top of the foresail is done by changing the angle of the sheet. When it pulls more downward, the top closes. So you tighten this here. Again, thinking of it as a Genoa. So you're tightening the sheet. So you tighten things in general so it's more closed. I don't know. When it pulls more downward, the top of the sheet closes. When it pulls more horizontal, it opens. What are they talking about? The sheet. If this is the sheet, what are they talking about pulling horizontal? Don't know. Okay, the lead car. The position of the lead car determines the angle of the pull. Move it forward and the top closes. Again, we have here it's not forward and backward, it's or fore and aft. It's back and forth sideways. Move it forward and the top closes, move it back and the top opens, but beware that moving the lead car forward will also increase the depth of the sail. Moving it back will flatten the sail. Hello. I just clicked next, so I have no idea what just happened. Okay, wow, 37 minutes in. I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to adjust the sails and stretch the waypoints further apart, see if that works, and let it go from there. So, if you want to, you can hit the thumbs up button or the like button, and better yet, hit the subscribe button. But most importantly, leave a comment, let me know what you think about gaming in general, YouTube in general. So, until next time, please do take care.